Margaret Joseph calls Louie evil to the bone and claims he damaged Teresa's friendship with Dina. Ouch. Welcome back to Right Now Trending TV. Before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of you for reaching over 800 subscribers. And I kindly ask that if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now and click the notification bell for more videos. Our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the week. So again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now. I would really appreciate it. Again, thank you, everybody. Now let's get started. All right, let's dive into the real drama of the Real Housewives of New Jersey again. And let me tell you, Margaret did not hold back when it came to discussing Teresa's husband, Louie. But what's really got people talking is whether Louie is anything like Teresa's first husband, Joe. Some people are out here suggesting that Teresa is blindly loyal to both men because they're controlling. But Margaret, she's not having any of it, baby. And her thoughts might surprise you. Let's start by addressing the big question. Is Louie another Joe? Margaret, in her true no-nonsense fashion, believes the two men couldn't be more different. Sure, Joe wasn't perfect, far from it, but Margaret feels like his mistakes don't compare to what's going on with Louie. She even went as far as to say Louie has programmed Teresa. Now, that's a pretty intense statement, right? But here's the thing. Margaret says Joe, despite his flaws, has a heart. In her words, he got kind eyes. That's crazy, Margaret. How often do we hear that in the world of Real Housewives? Joe made some pretty big mistakes, legal issues, time in prison, but Margaret is saying he's at least paid for those mistakes. This really makes me wonder, is Joe being cut more slack because we've all watched his journey play out over the years? Or is Louie genuinely on a different level of toxicity? Margaret's take is that Louie isn't just another guy with a rough past. He's someone who has actually fractured a ton of relationships in Teresa's life, including her longtime friendship with Dina Manzo, that is. It makes you think, when you're in a relationship and suddenly you're alienating your closest friends and even family members, is that a red flag? I think so. And speaking of red flags, Margaret pointed out something pretty insightful. She said, when you're going against every single person in your life, relationships have been fractured. All anybody said to her was just keep your eyes open. That's the advice she gave Teresa. Simple and sound, right? But somehow things got twisted, and now Teresa has distanced herself from pretty much everyone who tried to give her that advice. Dina's out of the picture. Her brother Joe is out of the picture. That relationship is fractured too. Is it possible that everyone is wrong, or maybe Teresa just doesn't want to hear the truth? Margaret didn't hold back on Teresa either. She mentioned how Teresa has lost her humility and seems to think everybody is out to get her happiness. Here's the thing. When you're fighting with nearly everyone in your life, at what point do you stop and think, maybe it's not them, maybe it's me? It's kind of like that saying, if everywhere you go smells bad, maybe check your own shoes. But let's pivot to something juicier. Jackie's secret meeting with Louie's ex-girlfriends. I mean, wow. This sounds like a plot twist from a soap opera, right? You would expect Teresa to lose it over that, but nope, she just brushed it off like it was no big deal. Margaret was clearly surprised, saying, Teresa, it has to sink in. It has to go through the cobwebs, which, by the way, is such a shady way of saying Teresa isn't exactly the quickest when it comes to realizing what's going on. Do you think Teresa's just in a deep denial, or does she really believe everyone around her is trying to sabotage her relationship? Then things got even darker when Margaret revealed that Louie made a comment about wishing suffering on her son, which we've discussed in great length. Now, here's where I draw the line. Kids should always be off limits, even though that is a grown man. He's not a kid. He is a grown man. No matter how heated things get between the adults, dragging kids or dragging children or somebody's seed is never okay. But Louie, he apparently made some half-hearted apology, which Margaret called a non-apology, and he basically called her a liar. Ugh. We've all heard those apologies that aren't really apologies, right? Do you think it's worse to say something hurtful and apologize or not even try? Margaret's stance was firm. Her husband, for instance, would never say something nasty about someone else's kids. She drew a clear line between what makes a real man and what she's seeing from Louie. And honestly, I agree with her on that. There's something about a man who can keep it together, who doesn't lash out, especially not at a woman or someone's child. Now, in true housewives fashion, things weren't all dark. Margaret did manage to add some humor to the situation when she sent flowers to Teresa's attorney during a pretty serious burn meeting about Teresa's dealings with Louise's exes, that is. She even admitted she did it as a joke. And get this, she spent $450 on the flowers. Talk about committing to the bit. Damn. It's petty, but also exactly the kind of petty that keeps the housewives universe spinning. I mean, are we even watching New Jersey if there isn't a little bit of pettiness sprinkled in? Margaret explained that housewives drama doesn't need to get dark and deep. It can stay fun and petty, and I couldn't agree more. This show thrives on playful jabs, not mean-spirited attacks. But with Louie, it seems like things are heading in a more sinister direction, which even Andy Cohen has commented on. He shaded Louie by saying he brought the darkest moment to the show. If Andy is throwing shade, you know it's serious. So what does this say about Louie? Is he just misunderstood, or he really is a villain here? And before wrapping up, Margaret dropped a little nugget about how she's paid by the episode. The less episodes, the less money for the Marge. Gotta respect the transparency. It's all business at the end of the day. Housewives, as dramatic and wild as they are, know their worth. And Margaret, she knows how to make every episode count. So what do you think? Is Louie really that different from Joe? Or are we just seeing history repeat itself with a new face? Is Margaret right to call him out, or does she have her own agenda? Either way, New Jersey is setting up for another season of twists, turns, and plenty of tea. Stay tuned because this drama is far from over. So everybody, what are your thoughts about this video? Jot your opinions down below in the comments. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. And again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell for more videos. Until next time, ciao.